The cafeteria on level 47 of Harmony 7 Station was almost empty. It always was at this hour. Most workers ate upstairs where the food was better, and the lighting was brighter. Down here the lights flickered sometimes and the meals came from recyclers that hadn't been updated in years. Hana sat alone at her usual table in the corner. She ate her meal slowly, not because she enjoyed it, but because she had nowhere else to go. Her shift ended an hour ago, but returning to her tiny quarters meant staring at blank walls. At least here she could watch the few other workers come and go. She was Valorian, which meant her skin had a faint silver shimmer, and her eyes were larger than human eyes. Most Valorians were beautiful in an otherworldly way. Hana looked like them on the outside, but inside she was different. Broken, her people said. Defective, every Valorian was born with telepathy. They could speak mind to mind, share thoughts and feelings, connect with each other in ways other species could not understand. Every Valorian except Hana. Her mind was silent. She could not hear others, and they could not hear her. To her people, this made her less than a person. An embarrassment. A mistake. When she was 12, the elders tested her again and again, hoping her abilities would appear late. They never did. Her parents cried when the final verdict came, not because they would miss her, but because having a defective child brought shame to their family. They sent her away before her 13th birthday. She had not spoken to them since. That was 8 years ago. Now she was 20, working as a data analyst in the bowels of Harmony 7, processing shipping manifests and trade records. It was mind-numbing work, but it was all she could get. No one wanted to hire a Valorian who could not use telepathy. What was the point? That was what everyone thought. Hana had learned to make herself small and invisible. She did her work, kept her head down, and avoided other Valorians. When she passed them in the corridors, they looked through her as if she were not there. Some whispered in each other's minds about her. She could not hear them, but she knew. She always knew. The door to the cafeteria slid open. Hana glanced up, expecting another maintenance worker or night shift crew member. Instead, a human woman walked in. She wore the gray uniform of a coalition diplomat, with neat black hair pulled back from her face. She looked around the empty cafeteria with interest, not disgust. Humans were still new to the Galactic Coalition. They had only joined 15 years ago, and most species still found them strange. They had no telepathy, no natural armor, no venom or claws. They were soft and weak, many aliens said, but they kept surprising everyone. They were clever and stubborn, and they did not give up easily. The human woman got her food from the recycler and looked around for a place to sit. There were many empty tables. Hana expected her to sit far away. Everyone did. But the woman walked directly toward her corner. "Mind if I sit here?" the woman asked. She spoke Universal Standard with a slight accent. Hana blinked in surprise. "It's a free station," she said carefully. The woman smiled and sat down across from her. "I'm G1. I just got assigned here last week. Still learning my way around." "Hana," she replied quietly. "Nice to meet you, Hana." G1 took a bite of her meal and made a face. "Okay, so the food really is terrible down here. I thought people were exaggerating." Despite herself, Hana felt her lips twitch. "It's not good," she admitted, "I'll say. I've had military rations that tasted better." G1 set down her fork. "So what brings you to level 47? You don't look like maintenance crew." "I work in data analysis. Department 12. "Oh, the Trade Records Division? That must be interesting work," Hana shrugged. "It's work." They ate in silence for a moment. Hana kept expecting G1 to make an excuse and leave. That was what usually happened when people realized she was Valorian. They would remember something urgent they had to do or suddenly finish their meal very quickly. But G1 stayed. She asked Hana simple questions about the station, about where to find certain departments, about which levels had the best views. Hana answered, slowly relaxing. G1 did not seem to mind that she was Valorian. She did not seem to mind anything at all. "Can I ask you something?" G1 said after a while. "Why do other Valorians avoid you? I've noticed when they pass you in the halls, they pretend you're not there." Hana's stomach tightened. Here it was, the moment G1 would realize what she was and leave. "I'm defective," she said flatly. "I was born without telepathy." She waited for the pity or worse, the awkward excuses. Instead, G1 tilted her head thoughtfully. "And that matters to them?" "It matters to everyone. Valorians without telepathy are not considered real people. Were genetic mistakes. That's horrible, G1 said quietly. The anger in her voice surprised Hana. You're clearly a person. A smart one if you're working data analysis. I'm good with patterns, Hana said. Numbers and data make sense to me. I can see connections others miss. But it doesn't matter. I'll never be good enough for my people. Then your people are fools. Hana stared at her. No one had ever said anything like that before. Most aliens respected Valorian culture, even if they found it strange. Humans, apparently, did not care about being polite. You really think that? Hana asked. I do. Judging someone's worth based on one ability they're supposed to have is stupid. Humans can't do telepathy either, you know. Does that make us all defective? Some species think so, G1 laughed. Some species can kiss my ass. We're doing just fine. She finished her meal and stood up. I should get going. Early shift tomorrow, but Hana, I eat lunch at 1200 hours. If you're free, you're welcome to join me. I could use a friend on this station. Hana watched her leave, too shocked to respond. A friend. When was the last time someone had wanted to be her friend? She could not remember. The next day at 1200 hours, Hana went to the cafeteria. G1 was already there, waving her over with a bright smile. They ate together, and G1 told funny stories about her training on Earth. She made Hana laugh, something that had not happened in a very long time. It became a routine. Every day they met for lunch. Sometimes for dinner, too. G1 talked about her family, her dreams, her frustrations with coalition bureaucracy. She asked Hana questions about her work, about Valorian culture, about what it was like to grow up different. Hana found herself opening up in ways she never had before. She told G1 about her parents, about the day she was exiled, about the crushing loneliness of being invisible to her own kind. G1 listened without judgment. She got angry on Hana's behalf, which felt strange and wonderful. You're not broken, G1 said one evening as they watched ships dock through a viewport. You're just different. There's nothing wrong with different. Hana wanted to believe her. For the first time in 8 years, sitting beside this human woman who barely reached her shoulder, Hana felt like maybe she could. Maybe different did not mean defective. Maybe she had just been waiting for someone who could see her clearly. And maybe, just maybe, she had finally found that person. The alarm woke Hana from a deep sleep. Red lights flashed in her quarters, and a recorded voice announced a station-wide meeting for all personnel. She dressed quickly and made her way to the main assembly hall. The hall was packed with workers from every level. Hana stood near the back, trying to be invisible as always. She spotted G1 near the middle, but the crowd was too thick to reach her. Station Commander Velos, a tall reptilian Kryn, stood on the central platform. His scales were deep green and his voice carried easily through the hall. We have a serious threat, he announced. The Talvex raiders have been attacking coalition supply routes. 3 convoys destroyed in the past 2 weeks. 47 lives lost. A murmur ran through the crowd. Everyone knew about the Talvex. They were a brutal species, known for their cunning and violence. They lived in the outer systems where coalition law could not reach them. Usually they stayed away from major stations. Intelligence suggests Harmony 7 may be their next target. Commander Velos continued. We have significant supply depots and diplomatic personnel. This makes us valuable to them. Hana felt her blood run cold. The Talvex did not take prisoners. They killed everyone and stripped stations of everything useful. The human vessel Tenacity is being deployed to reinforce our defenses. Captain Tae-sung will coordinate with station security. All personnel will receive emergency protocols by end of shift. That is all. The crowd dispersed slowly. Hana made her way toward the exit, her mind racing. She needed to get to her workstation. If the Talvex were targeting supply routes, there would be patterns in the data. There always were, Hana. G1 pushed through the crowd toward her. Are you okay? I'm fine. I need to get to work. Work? Hana, the station is under threat. Maybe you should... I work with shipping data, Hana interrupted. If the Talvex are choosing targets based on supply routes, I might be able to find a pattern. I might be able to help. G1 studied her face, then nodded. Okay. I'm being assigned to coordinate between human security and coalition defense.
Keep me updated if you find anything. Hana spent the next 12 hours buried in data.
She pulled up records of every attack, every destroyed convoy, every missing shipment. She cross-referenced shipping schedules, cargo manifests, and route codes. Her eyes burned, and her back ached from hunching over her console. But she kept working. The other Valorians in her department worked in their usual way. linking their minds telepathically to process information. They could share thoughts instantly, but they also had to reach consensus on everything. It made them slow. Hana worked alone, and she worked fast. By the third hour, she saw something. The attacked convoys all used old Coalition security codes, ones that had been updated 6 months ago. But not every ship had updated their systems. The Talvex were targeting vessels still using the old codes because those codes were easier to track and intercept. She kept digging. The pattern became clearer. The Talvex had someone feeding them information, or they had stolen a database of outdated shipping codes. Either way, they knew exactly which ships were vulnerable. Hana took her findings to her supervisor, a Valorian named Thel. He was linked telepathically with 3 other analysts when she approached. Supervisor Thel, I found something important about the Talvex attacks. Thel barely looked at her. We are currently processing threat assessments. Wait your turn. This can't wait. The Talvex are using old security codes to target vulnerable ships. If we don't update our protocols immediately, your analysis is noted, Thel said dismissively. We will review it when we have consensus. When will that be? When we reach agreement. That is how proper analysis works. His tone made it clear what he thought of her methods. Defectives did not understand real work. Hana returned to her station frustrated and angry. Consensus could take days. They did not have days. She made a decision that could cost her job. She sent her analysis directly to Jiwan. 20 minutes later, Jiwan appeared at her workstation with a human man in a military uniform. He was tall with broad shoulders, and he moved with the confidence of someone used to command. This is Captain Tae-sung of the Tenacity, Jiwan said. Captain, this is Hana. She's the analyst I told you about. Tae-sung extended his hand. Hana shook it awkwardly. Humans liked physical contact for greetings. Diplomat Jiwan says you found something critical. Walk me through it. Hana brought up her data on the console. She explained the pattern, the old security codes, the vulnerability. Tae-sung listened carefully, asking sharp questions. He understood quickly, like all good military commanders did. This is excellent work, he said when she finished. If you're right, we can update our protocols and change our shipping routes to avoid the pattern. Have you shared this with your supervisor? He said they would review it when they reached consensus. Tae-sung's expression darkened. When would that be? Days, maybe. That's how Valorian analysis teams work. We don't have days, he turned to G1. Get me a meeting with Commander Velos immediately. I need to present these findings. Within an hour, Hana found herself in a briefing room with the station's senior officers. Commander Velos sat at the head of the table. Supervisor Thel was there too, looking furious that Hana had gone over his head. Captain Tae-sung presented Hana's analysis. He explained it clearly, showing the patterns and the evidence. The human officers nodded, understanding immediately. The alien officers looked more skeptical. This analysis was done by one individual, Supervisor Thel said. It has not been verified by our telepathic network. Single-source data is unreliable. Single-source data is all we had for the first 10,000 years of human history, Tae-sung replied coolly. We learned to make it reliable. This analysis is sound. Commander Velos studied the data projections. If this is correct, we need to act now. But if it is wrong, we waste resources on false assumptions. Then let me verify it, Hana said. All eyes turned to her. She felt her heart pounding but forced herself to continue. Give me access to real-time tracking data. If the Talvex are using old codes, I can predict which ships they'll target next based on current routes. If I'm right, you'll know within 6 hours. If I'm wrong, you've lost nothing. She makes a fair point, said Yuna, a human security officer. 6 hours is a reasonable test. Commander Velos thought for a long moment. Very well. You will have your access. Captain Tae-sung assigned someone to assist her. I'll do it. Ji-won volunteered immediately. Hana and Ji-won returned to the Data Analysis Center. Hana worked with desperate focus, tracking 3 convoys currently in transit. She calculated their routes, checked their security protocols, and cross-referenced them with the Talvex pattern. 2 convoys had updated codes. They were safe. The 3rd convoy, carrying medical supplies to a frontier colony, still used the old system. That one, Hana said, pointing to the display. The Talvex will hit that convoy in the next 4 hours. I'm certain. Ji-won relayed the information to Captain Tae-sung. He diverted 2 patrol ships to escort the convoy. staying hidden to avoid alerting the pirates. 3 hours and 42 minutes later, the Talvex attacked. But they flew directly into the human ambush. The patrol ships drove them off, saving the convoy and capturing 2 pirate scouts. The interrogation of the scouts confirmed everything. The Talvex had stolen an old Coalition database. They were using it to hunt vulnerable targets. Commander Velos issued station-wide protocol updates immediately. All ships were ordered to verify their security systems. The vulnerability was closed. In the command center, Captain Tae-sung shook Hana's hand again. "You saved lives today. Good work, analyst." Supervisor Thel stood in the corner, his face unreadable. He had been wrong, and a defective had been right. Hana knew he would never forgive her for that. But as she looked at Ji-won's proud smile and Captain Tae-sung's respect, Hana realized something important. She did not need Thel's approval anymore. She had proven her worth to people who actually valued competence over telepathy. For the first time since her exile, Hana felt like she mattered. The attack came during the night cycle, when most of the station slept. Hana was still in the data analysis center, running final checks on the updated security protocols. She had volunteered to work late, making sure every ship in the system had properly implemented the new codes. Ji-won had gone back to her quarters an hour earlier, exhausted from days of coordination work. The explosion threw Hana from her chair. Alarms screamed. The lights died, replaced by emergency red strips along the floor. Hana pulled herself up, her ears ringing. Through the viewport she saw ships. Dozens of them. Talvex raiders swarming Harmony 7 like insects. More explosions rocked the station. The data center's ceiling buckled and debris rained down. Hana ran for the door, but another blast sealed the corridor ahead with twisted metal and sparking wires. She was trapped. Other workers ran past her, panicking. Some were human. Some were other species she did not recognize. They pounded on the sealed door, but it would not open. The emergency exit on the other side was blocked too. They were caught between 2 impassable barriers. "Everyone, move to the central area," Hana shouted. "Away from the walls." Some listened. Others kept panicking, screaming for help that could not reach them. Hana counted quickly. 32 people trapped with her, including 5 children who had been visiting a parent on shift. Ji-won appeared through the smoke, coughing. "Hana, thank God you're alive. Are you hurt?" "I'm fine. The exits are blocked. We're trapped." Ji-won pulled out her communicator, but it was dead. The blast had damaged the local network. "We need to stay calm and wait for rescue teams." Another explosion, closer this time. The floor shook. One of the children started crying. Hana's mind raced. They could not just wait. The Talvex were breaching the station. If they reached this section before rescue teams did, everyone here would die. She ran to the nearest console and prayed it still had power. It flickered to life, showing a schematic of the station. The main network was down, but local sensors still worked. "What are you doing?" Ji-won asked. "Finding us a way out." Hana's fingers flew across the controls. She pulled up the emergency systems, the environmental controls, the internal sensors. The station was huge and complicated, but she understood patterns. She understood systems. The Talvex were moving through the station in groups, heading for the supply depots and command center. Their movements showed on the sensors as red dots. Station security forces appeared as blue dots, trying to organize a defense. But without their telepathic network, the Valorian guards were confused and slow to respond. Hana saw something the others had missed. The Talvex were using the maintenance tunnels to bypass major defenses. They were moving fast, hitting multiple targets at once. "I need to contact someone," Hana said. "Anyone connected to the defense network." "The communicators are down," Ji-won reminded her. "Not all of them." Hana rerouted the console's emergency broadcast system. It was old technology, barely used anymore, but it might still work. She sent out a signal on all frequencies, hoping someone would hear it. A voice crackled through. "This is Engineering Team 7. Who's broadcasting on this channel?" "This is Analyst Hana, trapped in Sector 12G with 32 civilians. I have access to internal sensors. I can see Talvex movement patterns." A different voice came through, stronger and clearer. "Hana, this is Captain Tae-sung. Can you track their positions?" Relief flooded through her. "Yes, sir. They're using maintenance tunnels. I can see their routes. Send me coordinates. We'll cut them off." Hana worked faster than she ever had in her life. She tracked the Talvex groups. predicted their paths, and sent coordinates to Captain Tae-sung's team. She watched as blue dots moved to intercept red ones. Battles erupted throughout the station, but one group of Talvex was heading directly toward her trapped section. They would arrive in minutes. "We have hostiles approaching your position," Tae-sung said grimly. "Rescue teams can't reach you in time. You need to hide." Hana looked around the data center. There was nowhere to hide. The room was open, designed for multiple workers and large equipment. The Talvex would see them immediately, unless they were not there. "The environmental controls," Hana said suddenly. "I can vent the atmosphere from the corridors around us. The Talvex wear pressure suits, but it will slow them down, and I can trigger fire suppression systems to create smoke. They'll think there's a fire, that everyone evacuated already." "That's risky," Ji-won said. "If you make a mistake with the environmental systems, I won't." Hana met her eyes. "Trust me," Ji-won nodded. "Do it." Hana's fingers danced across the console. She carefully vented atmosphere from the corridors approaching their section, then triggered smoke generators. She watched the sensors as the Talvex group reached the smoke-filled corridors. They slowed, scanning for heat signatures. But Hana had also adjusted the environmental controls to mask heat signatures in her section, making it seem empty. The Talvex moved on. Searching for better targets, it worked. Captain Tae-sung said, wonder in his voice. "You just saved 32 lives with environmental controls. Where did you learn to do that?" "I read the station manual," Hana said simply. "All of it." The battle raged for another hour. Hana continued tracking Talvex movements, feeding information to human defense teams. She noticed a pattern in their retreat routes and helped Hyun-woo, a human combat engineer, seal off their escape paths. Several groups were captured. Others were killed in firefights. Finally, the Talvex withdrew. They had lost too many fighters and gained nothing. Their ships fled into deep space, pursued by the Tenacity. When rescue teams finally cut through to Hana's section, they found all 32 people safe. The children were scared but unhurt. Ji-won had organized the civilians into a calm group, but everyone knew who had truly saved them. "You were incredible," Ji-won said quietly as they walked through the damaged corridors. "I've never seen anyone work like that under pressure." "I just did what needed to be done," Hana replied. "You did more than that. You saved lives. You helped win the battle." Ji-won paused. "Hana, you're a hero." Hana did not feel like a hero. She felt tired and scared and relieved to be alive. But when they reached the command center, something unexpected happened. The station personnel gathered there began to clap. It started with the human crews, then spread to other species. They applauded Hana, this defective Valorian who had done what their telepathic coordinators could not. Commander Velos approached her. "Analyst Hana, your actions during the attack were extraordinary. You will be formally recognized by the Galactic Coalition." Across the room, Supervisor Thel stood with other Valorians. They looked uncomfortable, unwilling to join the applause. But they could not deny what had happened. Everyone had seen the battle recordings. Everyone knew Hana's contributions. One of the rescued children, a young Valorian girl named Mirai, ran up to Hana. She had been one of the children who used to point and whisper when Hana passed in the corridors. "Thank you for saving me," Mirai said softly. "I'm sorry I was mean to you before." Hana knelt down to the girl's level. "It's okay. I'm just glad you're safe." The girl's mother, also Valorian, approached slowly. She looked ashamed. "You did not have to save us. After how we treated you, you could have let us—" She stopped, unable to finish. "I would never do that," Hana said firmly. "I save people who need saving. That's what good people do, no matter how they're treated." The mother bowed her head, a gesture of deep respect in Valorian culture. It was the first time any of Hana's people had shown her respect since her exile. Captain Tae-sung clapped Hana on the shoulder. "Analyst Hana, I meant what I said before. You saved lives, and you helped my crew fight smarter. If you ever want a position aboard the Tenacity, you have one. We could use someone with your skills." "Thank you, sir," Hana said, overwhelmed. As the crowd dispersed and repair crews began assessing damage, Hana stood beside Ji-won, looking out at the stars through a cracked viewport. The battle was over. The station had survived, and Hana had proven something important not just to others but to herself. She was not defective. She was not broken. She was simply Hana, and that was enough. The ceremony took place in the main assembly hall, now repaired and gleaming. Hana stood on the stage wearing her best civilian clothes, which still looked shabby compared to the dress uniforms around her. She felt out of place, exposed, and desperately wanted to be anywhere else. Ambassador Dalnim, a senior human diplomat with gray hair and kind eyes, stepped up to the podium. Today we recognize extraordinary courage and intelligence under the most difficult circumstances. Analyst Hana demonstrated skills that saved 32 civilian lives and contributed significantly to the defense of this station. The audience applauded. Hana saw Jiwon in the front row beaming with pride. Captain Taesung and his crew stood beside her. Even Commander Velos looked pleased. But the Valorian section sat stiff and uncomfortable, their faces carefully neutral. The Galactic Coalition awards Hana the Star of Valor, Ambassador Dalnim continued, for exceptional bravery and service to all species of the Coalition. He placed the medal around her neck. It was a simple silver star on a blue ribbon, but it felt heavy. Hana had never received recognition before. She had only ever received rejection. The applause grew louder. Hana managed a small smile, then quickly returned to her seat. She hated attention. Being invisible had been safer, but visibility had consequences she did not expect. News of her actions spread beyond Harmony 7, and the story of a defective Valorian saving lives reached the Valorian homeworld. It caused controversy. Some said it was impossible, that the reports were exaggerated. Others said it proved defectives were not as useless as they believed. Most said nothing publicly but whispered in their telepathic networks where outsiders could not hear. 3 weeks after the ceremony, a ship arrived from the Valorian homeworld. Hana learned about it from Jiwon, who burst into the data center with urgent news. Elder Thren is here, Jiwon said breathlessly. He's a high-ranking official from your homeworld. He's asking to meet you. Hana's blood ran cold. Why? I don't know. But Commander Velos wants you in the diplomatic conference room in 1 hour. I'll be there too, as your advocate if you want one. Yes, Hana said immediately. Please. The hour passed too quickly. Hana found herself sitting across from Elder Thren, a tall Valorian with silver hair and cold analytical eyes. He studied her the way someone might study an interesting insect. Commander Velos sat at the head of the table with Ambassador Dalnim and Jiwon flanking Hana. Hana, Elder Thren began, his voice smooth and emotionless. Your recent actions have caused quite a discussion on our homeworld. Some find it remarkable that one without the gift of telepathy could achieve what you did. I did what anyone should do in that situation, Hana said carefully. Yes, well, that is the matter we must discuss. The Council has reviewed your case. Your exile was based on your inability to contribute to Valorian society. However, you have demonstrated certain useful skills. The Council is prepared to offer you conditional return. Hana's heart skipped. Return home? After 8 years? What conditions? You would accept a junior administrative position, supervised by telepathic coordinators. You would undergo genetic counseling to ensure any future offspring are tested thoroughly, and you would acknowledge publicly that your abilities, while occasionally useful, are inferior to telepathic analysis. The room fell silent. Jiwon's face turned red with anger. Ambassador Dalnim looked disgusted. Commander Velos's expression was unreadable. Let me understand, Hana said slowly. You want me to come home, work in a subordinate role supervised by people who will never trust me, agree to genetic counseling that suggests I should never have children like me, and publicly declare myself inferior. That is the Council's offer. Yes. And this is supposed to be an honor? Elder Thren looked genuinely confused. You are being offered return from exile. That is a tremendous gift. That's not a gift, Jiwon snapped. That's an insult. The human diplomat's opinion is not relevant, Elder Thren said coldly. Then let me make this relevant, Ambassador Dalnim said, his voice hard. The Galactic Coalition awarded Hana the Star of Valor for her actions. That medal recognizes her as a hero to all species, and your council wants her to declare herself inferior. That is not just insulting to Hana. It is insulting to this entire station and every person she saved. Our cultural values are not subject to outside judgment, Elder Thren replied. No, but Hana's choices are her own, Commander Velos said. She is a coalition citizen with full rights. Whatever she decides, this station will respect her decision. Elder Thren turned back to Hana. You have 1 week to consider the offer. I suggest you think carefully. This opportunity will not come again. He left the conference room. Hana sat frozen, unable to process what had just happened. Her people were offering her a way home, but at what cost? That evening, Hana sat with Ji-won in their usual spot by the viewport. They watched ships come and go in silence. Finally, Ji-won spoke. "What do you want to do?" "I don't know," Hana admitted. "Part of me wants to go home so badly. I miss my planet. I miss the sky and the forests. I miss having a place where I belong, but I would not belong there. Not really. I would be a curiosity, a defective who got lucky once. They would watch everything I do, waiting for me to fail. And the genetic counseling..." She trailed off, unable to voice the pain that idea caused. "They're asking you to be ashamed of who you are," Ji-won said quietly. "To pretend your achievements don't matter. To accept that you're broken. Maybe I am broken. No." Ji-won turned to face her, fierce and determined. "You are not broken. You are different, and different is not less. The Valorians are wrong, Hana. They've always been wrong about you. You don't understand. You're human. Your people accept differences. Not always. Humans have a long history of rejecting people for being different. We've done terrible things to those who don't fit our expectations, but we've learned slowly that diversity makes us stronger. The Valorians need to learn that too." Hana thought about that. She thought about the past 8 years of loneliness and shame. She thought about the battle, about saving lives, about the respect in Captain Tae-sung's eyes. She thought about Ji-won's friendship, offered freely without conditions. "Captain Tae-sung offered me a position on the Tenacity," Hana said. "I know. I was there. What if I accepted?" Ji-won's face lit up. "Then I would be very happy. And I would request transfer to the same ship if you wanted me there." "You would do that?" "In a heartbeat." "Hana, you're my best friend. Wherever you go, I want to be there too." The decision crystallized in Hana's mind. She knew what she had to do. When Elder Thren returned a week later, Hana met him in the same conference room. This time she stood while he sat. "I have considered your offer," Hana said formally, "and I decline." Elder Thren blinked, clearly not expecting that. "You decline?" "Yes, I will not return to a world that wants me to be ashamed of who I am. I will not accept a position supervised by people who think I'm inferior. And I will not undergo genetic counseling that treats my existence as a mistake." "You would rather remain in exile?" "I'm not in exile anymore," Hana said clearly. "I'm free. I've found people who value my skills and respect my contributions. I've proven I can save lives and make a difference. I don't need the Valorian Council's approval to know my worth." "You are making a mistake," Elder Thren said. "This opportunity will never come again." "Good. I don't want it." Hana straightened her shoulders. "I'm accepting a position aboard the human vessel Tenacity as a senior tactical analyst. Captain Tae-sung values competence over telepathy. That's where I belong now." Elder Thren stood slowly. "Then you are truly lost to us." "No," Hana corrected. "You lost me 8 years ago when you exiled a 12-year-old girl for being different. I've found myself since then, and I found something better than acceptance from people who never valued me. I've found people who see who I really am and like what they see." Elder Thren left without another word. When the door closed, Ji-won rushed forward and hugged Hana tightly. Ambassador Dalnim smiled broadly. "Well done, Analyst Hana," he said. "Very well done indeed." That night, Hana packed her few belongings. She was leaving Harmony 7 for the Tenacity, starting a new chapter of her life. She should have felt scared or sad. Instead, she felt free. She had made her choice. And for the first time since her exile, it was truly her own. 6 months passed like a dream. The Tenacity became Hana's home in ways Harmony 7 never had. The ship was smaller, more cramped but filled with warmth and camaraderie. The crew treated her as one of their own. They joked with her, included her in their meals, asked her opinion on everything from tactical decisions to what movies to watch during off hours. Hana's role as tactical analyst proved more important than anyone expected. She predicted enemy movements, identified weaknesses in defensive formations, and optimized patrol routes. Captain Tae-sung said she had a gift for seeing patterns others missed. The crew started calling her the Oracle, which embarrassed her but also made her proud. Ji-won transferred to the Tenacity as promised, taking a position as diplomatic liaison. Having her best friend aboard made everything better. They shared quarters, staying up late talking about everything and nothing. They explored new stations together during shore leave. They became inseparable. Somewhere along the way, Hana's feelings changed. She began noticing small things about Jiwon. The way she laughed, bright and unrestrained. The way she touched Hana's arm when making a point. The way she looked at Hana sometimes with an expression Hana could not quite read, but made her heart beat faster. Hana tried to ignore these feelings. Jiwon was human. Hana was Valorian. Cross-species relationships were rare in the coalition, and she did not want to risk the most important friendship she had ever known. But the feelings grew stronger. When Jiwon smiled at her, Hana felt warmth spread through her chest. When they worked together, Hana found herself watching Jiwon's hands, her face, the graceful way she moved. When Jiwon laughed at something Hana said, Hana felt like she could fly. She was in love. She knew it, and it terrified her. The Tenacity received orders to survey the Andara Nebula, a region of space where new stars were being born. The nebula was safe, with no hostile activity reported in decades. It was supposed to be a relaxing mission after months of tense patrol duty. Hana stood in the observation deck, watching colors swirl through the viewport. The nebula was breathtaking. Brilliant purples and blues mixed with bright oranges and reds. Young stars flickered like jewels scattered across velvet. She had never seen anything so beautiful. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Jiwon's voice came from behind her. Hana turned. Jiwon wore casual clothes, not her uniform. She looked relaxed and happy. It's incredible, Hana said. I've seen images, but they don't capture how it really looks. I know. Sometimes you have to see things in person to understand them. Jiwon moved to stand beside her. Hana, can we talk? There's something I need to tell you. Hana's stomach tightened. Of course. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. At least I hope not. Jiwon took a deep breath. We've been friends for almost a year now. You're the best friend I've ever had. But lately I've been feeling something more than friendship. Hana's heart stopped. More? Yeah, more. Jiwon turned to face her fully. I'm in love with you, Hana. I've been in love with you for months. I tried to ignore it because I didn't want to make things awkward. But I can't keep pretending anymore. You're the first person I think about when I wake up. You're the last person I think about before I sleep. When something good happens, I want to tell you first. When something bad happens, I need you there to make it better. Jiwon. Hana could barely breathe. I know this might complicate things. I know cross-species relationships are unusual. And I know you might not feel the same way. If you don't, we can pretend I never said anything. I value your friendship too much to lose it. I do feel the same way, Hana blurted out. I've been in love with you too. I just thought, I didn't think you could possibly feel that way about me. Jiwon's face lit up with joy. How could I not? Hana, you're brilliant and kind and brave. You saved 32 lives, including mine. You stood up to Elder Thran and chose your own path. You're everything I admire in a person. But I'm defective, Hana whispered. My own people rejected me. Your people were fools. Jiwon took Hana's hands gently. You're not defective. You're extraordinary, and I don't care what the Valorians think. I care what I think, and I think you're perfect exactly as you are. Tears filled Hana's eyes. I've never been perfect for anyone. You're perfect for me. Jiwon squeezed her hands. Hana, humans have a tradition. When we want to spend our life with someone, when we love them so much we can't imagine being without them, we ask them a question. What question? Jiwon released one of Hana's hands and reached into her pocket. She pulled out a small ring, simple and silver, with a tiny blue stone set in it. This is made from a piece of hull plating from Harmony 7, from the corridor where we first met. I had it crafted into a ring. Hana stared at it, then at Jiwon's face. Hana, will you marry me? Will you be my partner, my love, my family? Will you choose me, the way I choose you? The tears spilled over. Hana had been rejected by her birth family, exiled by her people, told she was worthless and broken. She had spent 8 years believing she would always be alone, and now this human woman, this brilliant, stubborn, wonderful human woman, was asking her to be family. Yes, Hana whispered. Yes, I'll marry you. Jiwon slipped the ring onto Hana's finger. It fit perfectly. Then she pulled Hana into a kiss, gentle and sweet and full of promise. When they finally pulled apart, both were crying and laughing at the same time. I love you, Jiwon said. I love you too, Hana replied. I never thought I could have this. I never thought anyone would want me this way. I want you in every way, Jiwon said firmly. I want to wake up next to you every day. I want to explore the galaxy with you. I want to grow old with you if our lifespans allow it. I want everything with you. They stood together in the observation deck, holding each other as the nebula swirled around them. Stars were being born in that vast cloud of gas and dust. New light coming into existence. It felt appropriate, Hana thought. This was her new beginning, too. The wedding took place 3 weeks later aboard the Tenacity. Captain Tae-sung officiated, as was his right as ship's captain. The entire crew attended, dressed in their best uniforms. Ambassador Delnim came from Harmony 7 to witness it. Even Commander Velos sent his congratulations. Hana wore a simple white dress that Sora, the ship's medical officer, helped her pick out. Ji-won wore her dress uniform. They exchanged vows they had written themselves, promising love and partnership and understanding. When Captain Tae-sung pronounced them married, the crew cheered. Hyunwoo, the combat engineer, had rigged up a small celebration complete with music and food from a dozen different worlds. It was perfect. During the reception, Hana noticed Yuna, the security officer, talking to someone on a communication screen. The screen showed Mirai, the young Valorian girl Hana had saved during the Talvex attack. "Congratulations, Hana," Mirai called through the screen. "I heard you got married. I'm so happy for you." "Thank you, Mirai," Hana said, touched that the girl had reached out. "You were right, you know, about being different not meaning broken. I told my friends at school about you. Some of them have family members who are defective. Who are different." The girl corrected herself carefully. "I told them different is okay. That different people can still do amazing things." After Mirai signed off, Ji-won squeezed Hana's hand. "You're changing things," she said softly. "Not just for yourself, for others like you." Over the following months, Hana began receiving messages from other non-telepathic Valorians. Some were in exile like she had been. Others were struggling on the homeworld, trying to survive in a society that did not value them. They asked for advice, for hope, for proof that life could get better. Hana answered every message. She told them her story. She told them they were not alone. Slowly, quietly, she built a network of support for defective Valorians across the galaxy. It was not much, but it was something. It was a start. 1 year after the wedding, the Tenacity was assigned to explore a distant sector near Valorian space. Hana stood on the bridge with Ji-won beside her, watching her homeworld appear on the view screen. It was beautiful, with blue oceans and green continents, just as she remembered. "Do you miss it?" Ji-won asked gently. Hana thought about it. She missed the forest she had played in as a child. She missed the particular way the sunlight looked through the silver trees, but she did not miss the loneliness, the shame, the constant feeling of being wrong. "Sometimes," she admitted, "but I don't want to go back. That place rejected me. You and this crew, this ship, this life, you all chose me. That means everything." "You were never broken," Ji-won said, repeating words she had said many times before. "I know," Hana replied, and this time she truly believed it. "I was just born for a different sky." She looked at the ring on her finger, the ring made from the place where everything changed. Then she looked at her wife, at the crew working around them. This was where she belonged, not on a planet that rejected her, but among the stars with people who loved her. She was home. The Tenacity turned away from Valorian space and headed deeper into unexplored territory. Hana pulled up her tactical displays and began analyzing the sector for potential hazards. Ji-won leaned against her shoulder, reading diplomatic briefings on her datapad. They worked in comfortable silence, partners in every sense of the word. Somewhere behind them, the Valorian homeworld grew smaller in the view screen.